Last week I was invited out to Barcelona, Spain for the launch of a new running shoe, the Infinite Elite from Under Armour. Now this was a PR event, so everything was paid for by Under Armour. I was very thankful to be flown out to test this shoe, but they have not seen this video before it goes live, nor have they had the chance to edit or have a say on any of my opinions that I'm going to share in today's video. So as always, I'll try to give you a non-biased review, but please bear in mind this was a pair of running shoes that was gifted for me at the PR event. PR! So at the event, we got to hear about the shoe from the developer and how it was designed. In short, we've got a new midsole on this shoe, which is Hover Plus, a slightly more responsive foam than they've used in their previous running shoes. We've got an Atelli knit, which is sort of like a fly knit upper, wraps on the foot really well from my initial testing. Plenty of padding for quite a wide fitting neutral daily trainer. There's also a slight heel sort of tab here at the back which offers a little bit of support, and I'll share with you some first impressions later on in the video. But what I was most excited about for this trip was the opportunity to speak with one of Under Armour's elite athletes, Sharon Lei. Now if you haven't heard of Sharon, she won the New York City Marathon in 2022 on her debut, which is even more impressive, and it was the first time I'd actually sort of considered Under Armour as producing running shoes. I saw Sharon on the podium and was like, oh, what shoes was she running in? And had a little look into it. She was wearing the carbon racing shoes from Under Armour, and from that point in 2022 I've been curious to test out Under Armour's shoes. Hence why I went on this trip. And on this trip I also got the opportunity to interview Sharon a little bit about her training and how she is preparing for her next marathon. At first we discussed a little bit about her background, being born in Kenya at 2,400 meters before competing in the NCAAs in America, where she won a gold medal in the 10,000 meters in 2018 before transitioning to the marathon. So here is a little bit of a snippet from our interview. Sharon had just got back from her morning run, so I just want to say a big thank you for spending the time to talk with us. But here is a little bit of the interview from Barcelona. So fast forward 4 years from that point, you then went on to win the New York City Marathon, which is somewhat of a breakthrough event. How was your training in the build up to that? Did you have any big sessions that you thought, wow, I'm in some good shape here and can expect a big result, or did it come as a bit of a shock to you?
I mean, I did. I mean, it was, and since it was like my first marathon, I had like a lot of like firsts. I had a first long run, my first, big workouts, and they were just things that I was not used to doing. Yeah.
And how did the race pan out? Were you in first position for the whole race, or?
No. I actually was like, I was just with people for some time, and then I got dropped. Yeah. And then I came back, and then I closed on, and then I stayed with them, and then we kind of just went together until like, I think, was it almost 38, 39? Wow. Okay. That's when it was like, we started, like, people started making moves, and I was still in it, and I was still with them. And then with like a few kilometers left, I kind of tried to like, make a move, and and I just hold on to it until the finish line.
It's amazing. Yeah. I can't imagine what it's like crossing the finish line first.
Oh, it feels so good. It's like the best feeling you can ever imagine.
So before I let Sharon go, of course I had to ask her a little bit about her shoe rotation.
Infinite Elites are my go-to training shoes, so that's like my everyday run. I run on those like on the days that I don't have a workout, and then the days that I have a workout, I have the Flow Velocity Elite 2, which is my marathon shoe.
And I saw recently on Instagram you've announced that you're going to be running the Boston Marathon this year.
Yes.
What made you pick Boston, and were you not tempted to pick, say, a faster marathon like Valencia or Berlin, because Boston's known for being quite a challenging course towards the end?
I honestly, I was gonna do it last year, but then I got injured, so all I wanted to do this year is, now that I'm healthy, it's like I just wanted to go back and race it. And it's just a big, Boston is just a big race that it's just like, it gets you excited, and I just want to do it because it's very challenging, and I do like challenging things, and because I know I can. I just want to know my limits and what I can achieve if I really trust in myself and I believe in myself. So I know it's gonna be a good one, and I'm really excited because then I have, it's a good field, and I gonna have all my teammates and most of my company around to cheer and support me, and I think that's all you can ask for, you know. So yeah.
Amazing. Well, I wish you the best of luck. Thanks for having a chat with us this morning.
Thank you.
And it's really nice to get some insights into a professional marathon runner's training and shoe rotation and goals and aspirations. So thank you very much for chatting with us.
I appreciate it. You guys have a wonderful one.
So as Sharon mentioned there, she uses the Infinite Elite for her daily miles and for her long runs. Whilst we were actually out in Barcelona, she did 36 kilometers along the seafront in this shoe. I think the shoe is actually quite new to her in her rotation as well. Obviously it's only just come out, but she was explaining how it's currently fitting into her rotation moving forward. So I thought I would share with you a few first impressions of this shoe. The first thing I want to sort of clarify is the name. It's called Infinite Elite, but it isn't a carbon racing shoe, which at first I found a little bit confusing. Often shoe companies use Elite in the name of their shoes to suggest it's a carbon plated racing shoe. So for example, New Balance have the SC Elite, Puma do the Deviate Nitro Elite, both of which are carbon racing shoes. So when I first heard the PR event for this shoe, I thought it was a carbon racing shoe, but alas, it is not. This is just a daily trainer with a more maximal cushion designed to offer protection from the roads, more of a recovery day style shoe, and that is how Sharon said she planned to use it. So let me quickly talk you through some stats for this shoe. It comes in at £145, which I think is fairly reasonable compared to some of the other daily trainers on the market at the moment. It weighs 326 grams in a US size 9, which I'm not going to beat you around the bush, is a little bit on the heavy side, which I'll talk a little bit more in just a second. We've got a fly knit style upper that they call IntelliKnit, and we have an 8mm drop, so 36mm in the rear, dropping to 28mm in the forefoot. So the main purpose of this shoe was to provide the athlete with enough protection from the road for their sort of daily miles. This is a simple chuck it on, get out for your easy miles shoe, and it's hopefully going to protect your legs so that when it comes to your next session or your long run, they are feeling nice and fresh. And that is definitely what this shoe does well. Offers plenty of protection from the ground with that 36mm of stack height. Another plus point to this shoe is how wide it is, and I found it to be very stable. So if you're somebody that has a slightly wide foot, especially in that toe box area, there's going to be plenty of room in this one. In terms of similarities, this shoe sort of reminds me of a Hoka Bondi or a Triumph from Saucony. It's sort of a max cushion. It offers a nice bit of protection from the road, but the shoe, similar to the Triumph, does have a little bit of responsiveness if you want to pick up the pace. But I think this is mainly for those easy mile, sort of easy run pace / recovery run. I also really enjoyed the comfort of this shoe straight out the box. The upper and the tongue are very plush, and it provides plenty of comfort and support for those daily miles. But onto some of my dislikes. Unfortunately, as I said, the weight of this shoe does let it down a little bit. In my UK size 8, it weighs 320 grams. And I thought I would compare that quickly to some shoes that I think it is similar to. So for example, the Gel Nimbus in my size weighs 300 grams. And my personal favourite for those daily miles is the On Cloud Monster, which weighs 270 grams. So the Infinite Elite at 320 does feel a little bit heavy on foot. So that pretty much summarises my first impressions of the Infinite Elite from Under Armour. It's a good daily mileage shoe that offers plenty of protection and a fair bit of stability as well. If you're somebody with a wide foot, I think you're going to really get on well with that sort of IntelliKnit upper. But I do think, for me personally, one thing that is preventing it from being a great sort of max cushion shoe is just the weight. Unfortunately, I can't see past that. And I think if this was maybe 20 to 30 grams lighter, this really could be one of the best max cushioned daily shoes on the market. But that being said, it's a pretty competitive price point, and if you do pick this up, I don't think you'd be disappointed. I just want to say a big thank you to Under Armour as well for sending me out to Barcelona to hear a little bit more about how you develop your shoes and the opportunity to speak with Sharon. But until next time, aspire to run, run to inspire, and we'll see you again soon.